Hey ho, good neighbors, what's going on? This is Phil Russert, Creatorcon Q&A, episode 118. We are counting down to the last episode, so thanks for tuning in. Please share this out. I want to give our guest some love tonight. He's a really cool guy with a really cool looking project, and we're going to get into that. But before we do, as usual, a few things. I just want to remind you that November 1st, which is next Monday, at 8 p.m., Sam Vera will be launching his Kickstarter and Indiegogo at the same time as campaign for his book Forbidden. It's issue 2, The Hunt. I will be cross promoting with him with Tragedy. There will be a digital print, a crossover print with both our characters for backer tier or stretch goal. That's what it is, a backer stretch goal. At 75 people, you'll get the digital print. So please remember that Tragedy is also issue 2 is launching on November 1st at 7 p.m. I will have a live launch party for that, and we will go from there. As far as Creatorcon Q&A, we have one more episode on Friday, but tonight we continue with a really cool creator, writer, artist, originally born and raised in Brooklyn. So he's a local to me, and he's got a really cool looking project. He's a really cool guy. He's got a lot going on, and just looking at the character designs, everything we're going to show you, really impressive stuff. And he's one of those creators that believes in a team, so I think that's awesome. So without further ado, our creator guest tonight is Quan Wilson.
Hey guys. Hey Phil.
Hey, what's going on? How are you?
Pretty good. And yourself?
Good. Michael says, hey now.
Hey Mike.
Rick says, hi, hello.
Hey Rick.
Rick says, I am looking dapper tonight. That's funny because I actually fell asleep. I worked all day and I passed out for 15 minutes and I thought I had bedhead, but that's okay. And he says, you're looking sharp too.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you.
So thanks for coming on. Quan reached out to me through Michael a little while ago. So, we've been planning on doing this show for a little while. Yeah. Exciting times for you. You've got some cool project going on. Before we get into that, just tell us a little about yourself and your background and what led you to where you are.
Okay. Well, my name's Laquan, Quan for short. Q for short as well. I have a lot of names. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised. Although I lived in Georgia for about 5 years out of my life. I'm currently I reside in Georgia. However, I still have my Brooklyn spirit, still a New Yorker to the core, still wear my Yankee hats every day.
You got the right hat on.
Yeah. I still have Nike hats. I mean New York Yankee hats in the back. Like this, yeah, it's like I'm still a New Yorker. I can't
so
go
all the
out
Mets
without
fans are dropping out right now, but that's okay.
But yeah, I've been writing comics since I was a kid. It started off with just small doodles as like a art therapy kind of thing. And then eventually I graduated into me actually doing commissions for a couple of friends of mine. And now as an adult, I'm a fully fledged comic book creator, self-published. And yeah, now I'm here. I'm also a network engineer. That's how I pay for all of this. I have a company, Sarah Tech. We're a managed service provider. I take care of everything technology based, from cloud services to hardware repair. Now I've gotten some wind underneath my wings with the art side of things, and I work with a small team of 8 artists who help me out with character designs. However, I do all of the panel art of Brooklyn Omega, and we plan on launching in late December. We're finalizing all of the artwork in November, and I've written the first 5 books already. Now we're just finalizing artwork.
Very nice. So as a writer and artist, obviously, you're doing those main chores. I know you have the team and they're helping you tweak things and work things out, as you said, which we'll get into that process in a moment. As the writer / artist, what is your process? Like, do you write a full script out and then draw it, or do you go as you draw? I mean, do you lead with your panel work? What's your process?
I definitely start with story first. because with story, it helps me just to visualize better of how the panel work should go. Because the way I approach the panel work is more like I don't know if you've seen like the way that they plan movie scenes, the treatments
Yes.
that they use for movie scenes. That's how I kind of plan out the panel art. So
Very cool.
it's like writing out the script helps me out with that. Because then I'll know like what angles to have certain facial like certain like to say aerial shot of a person getting punched in the face, or rather something from under where you see beneath someone's legs and someone's in between them. Just small little visual effects that'll help out with the overall panel art. So writing that out first actually helps out, and I'll actually write those notes in the the book notes. Like I'll write down like at this moment, Q sheaths his sword, and the angles between his sword sheath and his leg, and in between those two, you'll see the silhouette of the character he's gonna fight, and I'll write that little detail out while he's talking. So it's just like small details like that. So yeah, definitely writing first, then art.
It's good though, because communication is a lot easier when it's in your own head.
Yeah.
Like, because
Yeah.
you know what you vision. Because I mean, but the one thing that you sometimes lose when you do that, but you're not, because you have this team, is sometimes an artist comes up with an even better angle or panel than you thought of.
Absolutely.
And if you lose
That's
that if
happened
you're the
almost every step of the way.
and you lose that if you're the writer artist, but because you said, you know what, this I want this team of artists to double check me and tweak these things, you get the best of both worlds. So tell us about that process with the other 8 artists.
Okay, so the first artist that I always run to every time that I have a question or want like a honest critique, is is a friend of mine, Prince H. He's Filipino. He's moved here to the States like I'd say like less than 3 years ago or something. He's a really cool guy. I met him at an art show. He's super like observant and detailed with things, and I guess because there's a language barrier, like the cut, like it's so cut and dry when he gives me a critique. It's just like, yeah, there's no way I can like there's no way I can be like emotional when I talk to this guy about certain things. Like he
He's
just
probably also using Google Translate, which sucks terribly. So.
yeah, like I'm sure like there's times where like I'll say something or like make a phrase and he does that, like because we all communicate through through online. Like that's how we actually met, was online, and then at the art show. Like it was like a thing where it's a small community on Facebook.
Right.
Woohoo percentage. Yeah. And then there's a few other artists that I've worked with over the years. There's Angel Taylor. She's also my tattoo artist. She did my biomechanical arm.
Nice.
Yeah, she's one of the people that I
Does it
consult
work?
with. Uh,
Are you like the Bionic Man? Can you lift a truck with it or something? Or
well, I like to think that it's a little stronger than normal because I have a few pins and needles in there and stuff, breaking it so much. And
oh boy.
yeah, like I used to like have this like self canon that I'm like Wolverine's cousin, but only with an arm.
So,
Yeah.
so you were saying about the process. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Whenever I come up with character design, I think it needs to be refined. I send it to Prince overall for his eye on the manga side of things. He's really, really, really cool. Like he's done plenty of work with a few other people that I know with commissions. And just for like album art for independent music artists and things like that. And I just don't think he's ever worked on an actual project before. So it was like a thing where he has amazing art but no real direction. So it was like a thing. It was like, hey guy, what's going on? Look, I'll hire you. I'll throw you some money, man. We'll try to figure this out because there's some gaps in my expertise, and you kind of have those those expertise. So like, let's work together. And yeah, he was a starving artist. I was a starving artist, but luckily I had the engineering side of things to keep me afloat. So we just started working together on not only the Brooklyn Omega side of things, but other art projects along the way. But he's definitely my number two. Like he's my go-to guy. So and Angel Taylor again is another artist that I work with. The other 6 are a mixture of family and friends.
See, that's important because not only is it good to know your limitations and be accepting of feedback, honest critique, but the right hand man, quote unquote, is so invaluable,
Yeah.
because we all miss something, or we don't have all the answers, so that's fantastic that you're implementing this. By the way, Giovanni said that's awesome.
I
Jim
appreciate
O'Reilly
that.
says hello everyone, and according to Michael, your mechanical arm can crush a soda can, a full soda can.
I don't know about the soda can, but we could do this water bottle.
Yeah. Do you hear? Oh, sorry, I'm too old. You probably didn't know what the hell I'm talking about. But anyway, so with your team, walk us through the actual process now of how you're doing these panels and where you're going from there, character design, etc.
Okay, so I first start off with just a full body like concept of each character. I'm the one that takes care of the original like line work for the sketches, and like I'll add certain elements to the character from my own personal inspiration and imagination. So for instance, Q, the main character, his phenotype is me. He's based on me. But he's just like me if I was cooler and with a lot of extra cash. So like
Wow.
there's a like he like dressed like the way that I would if I had the extra cash. He like he has like the car, he has like all of the things that I would do if I was
See, if I
cooler.
had a ton of money, I wouldn't dress because I wouldn't be going anywhere. I'd be with t-shirt and boxers all the time. Screw
Well,
that.
that's the interesting thing about Q in the comic is like he's like this super important and high level exec, but he wears like sweats and like crew necks and stuff like that, and it's like because he likes to be comfortable. And like I don't know like how many like engineers or like just overall like tech folks, they all kind of do that. We all kind of like have a thing where it's like, no, we rather be comfortable than be all astute, but still comfortable and somehow fashionable. It's a thing in our community. It's a thing.
Yeah, I'm cool with comfortable, whether it's fashionable or not. But I'm also old, so there's that. But so you do the sketches for the designs and things like that, and then what do? You submit them to the team?
Yeah. So we'll get on a call actually, and then I'll just share my screen with them, and we'll go through and make like just footnotes about certain things they think I should work on, just certain aspects they think might not work with the character. I'll actually just give them a synopsis of what the character actually like their personalities and things like that, so that way they have a better idea of how they can. He wears $5,000 sweatpants. uh, so yeah, so they can get a better idea of how I should move forward with the character, rather than it being a
Right.
thing where they're kind of blind and just telling me things that just based on their own ideas of what art should look like, or what the art should look like. It's more like a thing like, okay, this character wouldn't do that because Q wouldn't wear a trench coat because he's short.
Right.
It's like, like things like that, and like those are the type of things that we would say in the group chat and video chat. And then that actually plays a lot into the comedy in the comic book too, because like they'll crack jokes about like certain characters, certain aspects, and then that plays a part in like how we write. So a friend of mine, he's like has obsessive things about his hair and like how he lines up his hair. He gets his hair lined up every like 4 days or some
Oh
ridiculous
my.
thing. Yeah, like it's ridiculous. So like when I designed his character, I kept making that a point. It was just like his hairlines have to be on point. Like, oh my god, his hairlines have to be they have to be tight. Okay, because this guy, he's gonna rip me a new one if he doesn't have the lines good. And they're like, okay, well, that could be a thing. That could be a thing that we can work with. Like, he's obsessed with lines, so we'll make him we'll give him a striped shirt and make sure that like he's always walking in a straight line. Like, there's never a time where he's like at a different angle. He's always like at 90 degrees or like 180. Like, there's never like small little like weird things like that. But yeah, so
Marcus is excited to read this, by the way.
Oh, all right. I appreciate that, Marcus. Wow.
So I think it's great, this team concept that you have, but ultimately at the end of the day, of course, it's your say because it's your baby, it's your project.
Right.
Now, give us a little synopsis, obviously without spoilers, about the book, and then we'll go into like the characters and talk about some of the characters you have.
Yeah, sure. So the book, well, let's start with the title anyway. See, Marcus understands about the lines, man. Like, you have to have your lines right, man. It's like a thing, man. Like, I actually gotta have to get mine lined up soon. So yeah, Brooklyn Omega, the name from Brooklyn, so that's the kind of obvious part. The Omega side is a little bit more of a deep dive. So Q in the Greek alphabet is the last letter in the Greek alphabet, and it's also represented by the Omega symbol. So Q, right. Omega. So because Q is the main character, it's kind of fitting. Not only that, but Omega being the supposed to be the is all end all. So the idea is that there's an alpha and then there's an Omega, the starter and then the finisher. So this is supposed to be the final frontier of what is supposed to be existence in a sense. So and it happens in Brooklyn. So Q, yeah,
busy.
Yeah. So being from Brooklyn, there's certain little things about Brooklyn that kind of I'd say makes Brooklyn the most like I think the most diverse city in the world as far as culture is concerned. Because no one looks like you. When you walk outside, no one looks like you. Everyone looks different. Everyone behaves differently. Everyone has different beliefs.
Well, no one looks like me because I'm so damn dashingly handsome, but besides the point.
But yeah, it's like it's like a thing where, like, growing up there, I don't think I had the same group of friends every day. Like, I would say every day I would have 3 group of friends that I would hang out with, and they would never cross every few days. So like, I would hang out with my Puerto Rican friends today, and then I would have my Dominican friends that I would hang out with later on that afternoon, and then I go back to the hood, and then when I go to play chess, I'm playing with all the geeky white guys, and then like it's like okay, there's
hey, wait a minute, why do the white guys got to be the geeks? What the hell?
Because they're the ones they're the ones playing chess with me, man. They're the ones playing chess with me. They're the ones playing chess with me. Later on in life, I hang out with the cooler white guys, the ones who drink the craft beers and like go to arcades. Like, I started hanging out with those guys. So
you stepped up, okay?
Yeah, I stepped up with my white guy friends. You know what I mean? So. But that's the cool thing about Brooklyn is like I had that opportunity to have a very diverse group of friends. I've had Jewish friends who I used to go to. I actually went to a few. What's the 13th birthday thing?
Bar mitzvah.
There we go. I went to a few
bar mitzvah.
Yeah, I've been to a few of those. I'm actually doing photography. I shot a few children.
That didn't sound right. I shot a few children.
I'm gonna finish it.
Photos of as a photographer.
I did some photography for a few children.
You're killing me.
So young Jewish kids. It's like a ceremony that happens with the sons when they cut their hair. I did a few of those shoots, and the reason why I was so I was able to actually shoot those families because I had a great relationship with some of some of my old friends. They had children, and I was able to take their shots of their kids, and they would bring them to the photography studio, and it was like a cool thing. I got to learn about the Jewish culture that I didn't really have access to or knowledge about. It was kind of
And then
cool to just
thinking
learn.
about Brooklyn, I mean, well, just New York in general. I mean, any of the boroughs, you can really, run into so many different cultures and get to know people, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, how does that play into your book?
So all of the characters like I try to represent like every nationality in the book. Because of that, I think a lot of the reason why I have such a, I guess, like a diverse skill set is because I was accepting of other people's just stories and learning from their stories and their aspects of life. It just helped me navigate a little bit better. So I think it's important. um oh, Tiandre, hey, that's one of the guys that we play Smash Bros with, me and Mike.
Cool.
What's going on, Tiandre?
By the way, real quick, Jim, we'll get to all your questions, my friend. We're building up to these things. We can't throw it all at you right away. We're going to show you some character designs, and we're going to tell you where the book's coming out and everything. But you got to be patient. So anyway.
So sorry, I kind of lost where I was.
You're talking about the diversity and representing different cultures in the book because of the way you were brought up in Brooklyn.
Right. So
see, I'm listening.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So yeah, like whenever I would like travel back and forth from Atlanta to New York, I would get I would get it would be like day and night difference of the diversity side of things. Like there was no diversity in Georgia compared to the diversity I had in New York. So,
Right.
but also there were certain charms of the South that kind of played a lot into how I was in the professional world. Like coming back to New York, like I was much I was much better with speaking with people and just hospitality and customer service, because it's kind of like a Southern thing to just be hospitable to people instead of just being a angry New Yorker all of the time. So I was just a little bit softer going into the workplace, and that helped me out a lot, especially in the corporate world. So yeah, being from Brooklyn in the corporate world is a little harder. You kind of have to soften your tones up a little
It's
bit. You kind of,
stressful.
yeah, it gets a little uncomfortable at times, like in the corporate world anyway. Luckily now that I'm with Saratech and started to do my own network engineering, I can not dabble too much into making that change of how I speak and how I behave and things like that. But that's definitely things that I touch in the book. Just certain aspects, even the first 3 pages of the book. One of my Jewish friends and I have a little like laugh and talk about sorry, I say Q. Sorry, sometimes I have to make the switch. Q ends up like talking to James, and they go back and forth about some idea that happens in the Torah that doesn't happen in the New King James book of the Bible. And it's like they go back and forth and make a little funny like tiff about it, and it's like, oh wow, yeah, I do remember having that conversation with an old friend of mine. So it's just like that's how the diversity plays in the book. But I'm kind of digressing from the overall theme of the book.
It's
So
all right. I was going to rein you back in. I just figured I'd give you a chance. That's my job.
So
Hey, listen, I'm just glad that you're passionate and excited. That's very important. Just real quick, if you're not passionate about what you're doing, then why bother? But when you see somebody who has your passion for it, you start to trust and believe that this is going to be a really good story. So, having said that, what is the story?
Okay, so the story is just a play on events that's happened in my life, that I added some really just
Supernatural
yeah,
and
some very very outrageous situations to put on top
because
of.
I don't think you've met Osiris, right?
Yeah, right. Right, right.
If you have, tell her I said hi. Or tell her I said hi.
Right. No, so growing up, just learning about different religious deities, just being interested in it in ancient history. doing a lot of my studies because of the mangas that I would be into, or the animes or the comics even that I was into, and learning about the lore that behind those stories and where those stories came from. Apparently, almost every comic has that, and can like alludes to those same ideas of demigods and gods. I didn't realize how deep that went, but it's pretty much prevalent in every superhero comic ever. And then yeah, it's like I went and even spent some time going to a few writers uh talks about like how they translate like Superman to like the Jesus story and things like
Right.
that. And it's like, oh wow, that's yeah, that's comparable. I can see that. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that made me take the book and kind of say, okay, well, learning these things and learning the I guess like the morals from these things or these stories to help shape me do not do things or prevent me from getting into situations that could have been really bad. And just always just remembering like, hey, this may not apply to you now, but this may apply to you later, kind of thing. And it's always remembering and having like an elephant's memory about it. And that plays a part of why Bib and Ganesh is a character in the book, with memory, because Q always just remembers certain things. So in the book, it's just Q kind of learning about the power source that makes gods, what makes those beings actual supernatural.
Well, let's step back a minute. Who's Q? Tell us
Q's the
about Q first.
Okay, so Q's name's Q Sattva. He's the main character of the book. He's a network engineer like me. He's pretty much my mirror, but cooler, like I said. Um, he's a network engineer, or network architect, I should say. He owns a huge data center and supplies everything tech related, from regular desktop computers to quantum computers for the military. He has his hands pretty much in everything as far as tech is concerned. Biomechanics is where he's gearing towards, and that plays a part in the story as well. So that's who Q is, and the story is about him.
And what is the main plot? Where do we go with Q? What is his adventure?
Q ends up meeting Osiris, one of the old gods of one of the old, uh, I guess you would say, covenants. Um, and he's no longer one of the gods of grace. So he pretty much does the bidding of the current gods of grace. And Q ends up meeting him by using a quantum computer, um, and sending messages out into the belt of Orion, because Orion's belt is the same as Osiris's belt, because that's the idea, is that Orion is the Greek version of Osiris.
Right.
And even the name Osiris is a Greek name. The original name is Asar. So the Egyptian name is Asar. So Osiris's real name is actually Asar. So those are kind of the things that I play on in the book, because Q ends up talking to Osiris and calling him by his like Greek name, and he like curses him out and is like, dude, come on, like, it's not my name. Like they changed my name, like the same way that my name gets changed. It depends on who you're talking to. So that's kind of a play on that. So yes, Q meets Osiris, and Osiris is kind of like infatuated with Q because he realizes that Q has been using this divine power without knowing it, and that's how he's been able to do all of this network engineering and all of these like great feats with martial arts and computer simulations, similar to what you see in the Matrix, where you would actually, that's one of the projects for Saratech, is you would actually use what their equivalent of augmented reality, to actually learn a skill. So
Very cool.
yeah, so Q is developing this technology, and through the development of this technology, he gains Osiris's attention. They end up speaking through these intergalactic channels, and apparently it's like illegal for Osiris to do this, because he's not supposed to actually give this type of information to human beings, because the last time that happened, human beings abused the power and the gods had to flood the world. So that's kind of a play on some of the things I read growing up about the Book of Enoch and the reason for like the Great Flood and things like that. So it's kind of a play on that. So yeah, Q ends up teaching some of those practices to his closest friends to use the divine power in order to protect himself from this great team of demigods that the current order of gods have sent to kill Q for learning these new powers. So that's where the plot goes. It's a fight and struggle between Q and these demigods who have been sent to kill him for learning knowledge of the gods.
Michael asks, what's the structure of the gods and their relationships to one another?
Ooh, okay. Wow. Okay. So
Michael's getting deep.
Okay.
And you thought he was just a video game partner.
So the structure of the gods, it actually took me a while to fully, develop the idea of how the gods are structured as far as tier is concerned. But the way that it works is whatever gods are currently being prayed to are the gods that are a part of the current order, because they currently have, they have worshipers.
Right.
So the idea is that the gods of the past aren't in the current order anymore because they have no more worshipers. So so the latest gods of the coalition would be it would be your sorry, the name of the original Buddha is missing me. Sorry, can't remember his name. And Jesus Christ, the great messiahs of the world, Muhammad. All of those would be considered one of the gods of the new covenant. However, they don't do any of the actual physical bidding anymore because they don't have to. They're above that. So they have seraphim and different other gods and angels, the demigods and angels, to do their bidding for them. So that's how that kind of structure works.
It's interesting because you've got three things going on here. You've got theology, you've got technology, and then you've got sociology. You've got social class constructs and situations and the issues that come with that. You've got the theology of religions and all those things, and then you've got what tech is, on society right now. Do you explore those deeply and how they interconnect or how they affect the human, our populace?
Absolutely. That's exactly the reason for the book. Growing up, just to give a little bit more bio on me. So growing up, I grew up with a grandfather who was also a tech engineer. I was an involuntary intern my entire life.
You gotta work, damn it. I need help.
So I learned how to fix things and actually learned like my basics of photography from him. But one really cool thing that I would say that he helped me out with was kind of like not pushing his beliefs on me and allowing me to kind of like explore my own thoughts until I got something completely wrong. And then it was like a thing where he's like, no, that's not how you do that. Like, let's fix this. And then he would ask me questions of where did I think I went wrong. And it was cool. Yeah. And it became more of everything became a learning experience rather than it being a pressured thing. And I think
it also teaches you to think for yourself and to expand the way you think and figure things out instead of force feeding you. This is how it should be done. That's great. Builds confidence.
Yeah. So sorry, I got lost in the question again.
So we were talking about the societal the theology, the societal issues, the tech, and how it all blended in this book.
Right. So like growing up, the reason there we go. So bringing up my grandfather was supposed to lead supposed to let me supposed to lead me into talking about how every time that we would work on a project together, he would always tell me like, most of these things people can Google. And it was it was interesting to me, like, wow, he's right. Like, he's not wrong about that. Like, again, you have to take time to actually learn what the technology that you're working with. So it's not necessarily just a quick Google search. It actually you have to have prior knowledge and a little bit extra, time on your hands to fiddle with things. So that's the reason why people don't do it. But it did dawn on me that, yeah, that is a weird thing, that some of these things could be a simple Google search and people just decide not to do it. So it's funny that the technology that they're asking us to fix, they could use to fix their problem. And it's like, wow, okay, that's a small sense. That's a small thing that happened that made me like look sideways when my grandfather used to say it. And then later on in life, the smartphone was a thing. And then I started to see like how much people started to do things less, or like start to not think about doing simple things instead of just using their phone to do it. And it's like, you don't need your phone to do any of those things. You could kind of just.
We've become too dependent on technology.
Yeah.
Especially the phone.
Yeah, it then becomes like you can't do benign things. I like my little cousin, I asked him to make me like I told him to beat an egg, or like to crack an egg and beat an egg, and like he had to like go on his phone and find it, and it was like weird. It was just like, it was like, oh, okay. That's a good thing. You're using technology for the good thing, but you should probably know how to do that without that. And then,
right.
But he knows, but it's the reason why I bring it up is because he knows the details about, like, he knows how to program in Python, but it's like, whoa, dude, like, it's funny to me, like, the kind of like where things have shifted, where like it's more important for him to learn things about Python than it is for him to learn how to cook an egg. Like,
no, I get it. They'll do this intricate computer thing, but you ask them to do a simple thing that would just make, that you need to know for life, a necessity, and they don't know how to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, so that becomes a thing in the book, is like Q becomes so dependent on the tech, on him learning all of these, these martial arts and things like that, using the technology, that when he's put into a real life situation, like, he's really getting messed up. Like, he puts his life in danger. He puts other people's lives in danger, because this is no longer a simulation. This is actually happening. And he has a kind of like a weird existential dread problem, where it's just like, damn, am I doing these things in vain, or am I really am I doing these things, like, am I doing these things not thinking about how this is affecting others because it's technology, and I think that I always have a reset button, or am I doing these things because I think they're right or righteous in a sense? And it's like, no, that part gets kind of lost and weird on him, and that's where the I guess like the twists and turns of the comic book comes into play and goes in. I'm trying not to like give away too much, but
right, it's tough. Yeah. I know. Well, Giovanni is letting you know that despite his internet being a bunghole, and the audio is cutting out, he's definitely interested in your book.
Oh, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, go ask Q how to fix it. How to fix it.
I can definitely help you out with that.
So now I have some character designs we're going to show, and we can also go on your website to show that. I don't know if you have any interiors you want to show that you haven't sent me. You could send them in the direct message. That's up to you.
Okay.
And we could show a few interior pages.
Okay. I think I have a panel or two I can show.
Okay. In the meantime, I'm going to add this, and we can see some character designs. As handsome as I am, you're all right. But I will make this full screen for people because they'd rather see art than us. And then you can talk about it as we pop up the images.
Okay. All right. So this is a character, Bib. Bib is an acronym from what's it called song, an Anvil song, Bitch in a Box. And bitch in the box tells me where to go. And they're actually talking about the GPS system. And Bib is Q's digital companion. And she think about her as if she's Alexa or
Jarvis,
Siri, but on steroids. You know, like she's
like Jarvis for Tony Stark, kind of.
exactly. She's actually
Okay.
sentient. She's super sassy. And she's her personality is based on my little sisters, actually. Um, yeah, so she's that's the bitch in the box. Her phenotype is a female Ganesh. Ganesh, one of the Hindu gods,
Right.
the remover of obstacles, which is also that plays a part in the reason why she in particular is the reason I chose her. She's like a remover of obstacles for Q. She gets rid of the majority of his problems and issues during his life by just doing little small mundane things with his computer and his computing power that he has to make his life easier, because he ruins everything so easily. She's like a pseudo fairy godparent for him.
Okay.
uh, yeah, but she's also has like great memory, and that's like a thing with like elephants, is like elephants have amazing memory. So
Right.
all computing, I don't know if you know, all computing is all memory, from your random access memory to the storage that your operating system is on. It's all digital memory. So without that, you can't compute. So the idea is that she's the master of all memory. So that plays a lot in when Bib gets connected to Osiris and starts to learn more about her actual her connection to Ganesh, the obstacle remover.
Right.
And then that plays into how Bib actually gets transmuted into the physical world, instead of it just being a two-dimensional world. And that's kind of a play on my love for Digimon. um Yeah, I grew up loving Digimon and Pokemon. Those were actually my first animes. Digimon being my first anime, but Pokemon being my first anime and video game combo.
Nice.
So there's a lot of there's a lot of references to a lot of the anime and a lot of the old comics that I loved growing up. A lot of the background artwork is inspired by the by Jesse Stagg in the Batman Beyond series.
Right.
Where it's like kind of just shadows of buildings and like this minimal detail, but it's a weird shaped building and things like that. I try to
Right.
like play on that a little bit. Love his work. Because I grew up buying the actual comics. I was actually alive during that time to buy the comics.
Nice. By the way, Tiandre says he's officially interested, and Michael says he will always call his GPS Bib from now on.
So yeah, that's Bib. Yeah.
And here we go. Who are these two?
This is Cece and BB. From the afro is Cece, and the one with the locks is BB. They are white mages and dark mages. You can tell which is which by the color of their their aura. Cece and BB are based on my big sisters in design. That's what I call them. I was actually their intern, and then their office manager, creative office manager for an eyewear company, their eyewear company, Coco and Breezy Eyewear. They're amazing. They're amazing eyewear designers. They've designed for, I think, roughly like 15 years now. They have a lot of skin in the game. They work with Prince. I worked on that campaign with them, with Prince. Worked on the campaign with three lens glasses, as well as like the Hershey's campaign that we did with the Hershey's and Jolly Ranchers inspired frames that we did. So they just always been like good people to me. They're also DJs, and I DJ as well. So we've always connected on like a creative level. So yeah, they're the inspiration behind BB and CC. And they're twins.
And what are they in the? I mean, you said they're witches in the comic. Are they Q's allies? Are they also trying to kill him? What is their role in the book?
So yes, they are Q's allies. They're a part of Ceratech. They work with Q on a few projects for Ceratech, and they actually designed the glasses that he wears. The glasses that has the power of a supercomputer, because it uses cloud computing. They're the ones that design the glasses. So they're their work in the physical world plays a lot into their skill set in the actual comic. So yeah, they're definitely allies to Q. Okay, so we have J Vibe here. That's based on another pair of twins. This is Jordan though. Jordan is one of my best friends since grade school. Um, we've been in marching band together. He was actually my section leader in the drum line.
I'm a drummer.
Are you? You're a percussionist?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I primarily I play the kit, but I do play some percussion.
nice. What kind of kit do you have right now?
I've it's actually an amalgam right now. I have
Oh wow.
an old Yamaha kit and I have some Pearl. So
We have an old Tama downstairs that we bang on from time to time, you know.
That's cool. Yeah, the opening song I wrote and performed. I sing it too, but we cut out the lyrics and I played the drums to it. So
Oh, you did say that. You did say that before we
yeah.
went live. Yeah. Good stuff.
Thank you.
I gotta listen to some of your stuff, man.
But so yeah, but we're about you right now, not me. So sorry. So you were saying J Vibe.
Oh, right. So yeah, this is J Vibe. He's also a vibration specialist. That's a play on the fact that Jordan in real life, the man that he's based on is an audio engineer. He's half of a group called Dope Norteria. They're a set of twins that produce and DJ here in Atlanta, Georgia. So yeah, he's a vibration specialist. He's also an ally of Q. Actually, all of the characters I sent you are allies of Q except for one, and I hope we go to that character last. Because there's some things I want to say about that character.
It depends on if that was the order you gave is on the website, then yeah.
Okay.
If not,
I think so.
If we get there, we could go back. So
okay. This is just some facial expressions for BB. So
I want to show people the art, and this is your artwork.
Yes, this is my artwork. Yes.
And you do digital, right?
Yes, everything is done in Shop and Illustrator. Okay, now this is J Vibe's twin brother, Wavy J. Wavy J's look exactly like him because they're identical twins. One has a little bit more hair than the other because in reality, that's really how they're doing it. Like one has a little bit longer hair than the other. But Wavy J is a wave specialist. And again, it's just play on the fact that he's an audio engineer. But once like the way that they help Q is very unique. They actually read seismic graphing and certain readers on the audio spectrum side of things to help communicate with Osiris. This is exactly how he was able to communicate with Osiris over in the Belt of Orion. So it's like the way that they help him out is more on the technical side of things and actually gets pretty cool. Again, it's all horseshit, but it's horseshit tech, but it's cool.
That's a new term, horseshit tech. What kind of tech you got? Horseshit tech. Sounds like a new name of a company.
Oh yeah, some more. This is like some expressions for BB. I mean CC. This is CC. Yeah.
See, I was about to correct you and say it's CC.
I'm glad that you know. I'm glad you know them.
I'm listening. It's not like you're my wife talking to me while I'm watching sports. No.
Okay. So this
you
is
want to move forward? Is that the villain?
Yeah, it is the villain. So we can go move forward one more.
We'll go back. Yeah.
Okay. So this is just a better representation, an actual final character design for Wavy J and J Vibe. So if you saw the facial expressions that you guys saw before, I actually did those designs myself. By the time all of the artists touch the art, this is what it looks like. So yeah, this is after I've touched it, Prince has touched it, like 8 other artists have touched it, and I finally say, okay, this looks good to me. This is the end result. So this is what I use for like the art prints and things like that. However, the book is in manga style black and white, but there are going to be prints that come with the book that I'm going to send with the book to whoever buys of like the color copies of different characters, and they're all going to be signed and cool things like that. So this is one of those prints. You saw another one with CC and BB.
Very cool.
Yeah,
nice work.
Appreciate it.
And then here's them
okay.
again.
So these are two characters that we're still working on in to like finalize. I still don't like the shading, and their faces are a little too close to me now that I've kind of like stared at them for 18 hours of my life. But they're based on one is Kai. She's based on a chef that I know. And but she's also knows really cool intricacies about food, like that normal people don't know. So I call her a chemist. So she's actually one of the protagonists in the story that becomes one of the antagonists in later on in the story, because of my relationship with the actual Kai. It's a very weird it's a very weird story behind me and the real Kai that this character is based on. So that's kind of a play on that. And then we have Cherry here, and Cherry's based on my baby sister Cherish. Cherry's on the right. She's the one with the little fawn on the side there. Yeah, so Cherry's always been really intuitive. Like she would know certain things about me or just know certain truths before you would tell her. So it's kind of like she's always had like a kind of like a, just I would say like I wouldn't say a psychic ability, but that's what I've pretty much ran with in the comic, is like she has psychic ability and she used tarot cards and things like that in order to like learn. And then when Q teaches her about the divine power, she takes it to another level. She could start summoning different things and stuff like that.
Very cool. And now, he is, the man of the hour.
Yeah, Q Sattva. So Q Sattva has a biomechanical arm that he doesn't start with, that eventually he ends up with. He starts off with all of his limbs. So that's good. He ends up pissing off one of the most powerful guys in the current order, and gets his arm taken in the process.
Wow.
Yeah, and he uses his work with biomechanics to actually create this new arm. But the fluid and the power source for that biomechanical arm was made by Kai, the character I said earlier that is the protagonist that becomes the antagonist. Kai is the one that actually constructs that particular fuel source, and that fuel source is actually the blood of the gods, or the synthetic equivalent of the blood of the gods. So his arm is divine. It's a divine piece of tech.
Very cool.
Yeah, it gets pretty intricate. His sword.
Got your beard too.
Yeah. Gotta have a beard, man, and the baldy. He has the baldy too.
Yeah.
The sword is inspired by the Quentin Tarantino film Kill Bill. Love that series of film. And the idea of Hattori Hanzo, that his whole story was actually really, really interesting to me. So and I watched like a ton of Forged in Fire, so I definitely wanted to give this guy a sword as one of his weapons. I was just always, and like my favorite character Naruto, Sasuke, he has a sword, and like and my favorite character in Dragon Ball Z, Trunks, he has a sword. Like pretty much all my favorite characters have swords. So I was like, yeah, no, this guy has to have a sword too. And Kill Bill is one of my favorite actual live action films. And Uma Thurman actually trained quite a bit to be in that film. She's not doing all of the stunts, but she's doing quite a few of them. And I just kind of had a lot of respect for that. So that's why he has a sword and he's like in the moonlight. And yeah, there's Bib.
Very cool. Pitching him off. That's so funny. We're going to go back now and look at your antagonist.
All right. The antagonist, Gamani. Okay. So Gamani is she's one of the characters in the previous order. I mean in the demigod order that's out to kill Q. However,
they don't know that though.
No, of course they don't know that. Like, it's a part of like the plot. And what's really interesting is Q's already like that's one of his lovers. And that plays a really interesting part in the story because he believes that this girl that he's known for all of these years is just a regular girl on the from around the way. And when he tries to teach her one of the divine powers, she kind of already knows it and knows it better than he does, and he kind of learns about it, and it becomes a thing of just betrayal and love and all of that mix. And then she ends up having to ultimately betray him in order to save her own life, and there's just unforgiveness there, and just she becomes like the forefront leader of all of the demigods against Q. So as Q's the leader of his group, she's the leader of the demigod group.
Very cool. And is this an ongoing series?
Yes, it's definitely an ongoing series.
And how far ahead do you have in your mind, for issues?
So I'm thinking roughly 50 issues could be a nice staple, maybe more than that. I kind of looked at this as a project similar to because of my love for Akira Toriyama's work with Dragon Ball and Togashi's work, Yoshihiro Togashi's work with Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho, where it was actually a very, very long spanning body of work that kind of just it kind of worked, and he could still write from and write to, because he's still actually writing Hunter x Hunter, and it's been almost 20-30 years. He's still writing it. Yeah, so I kind of, that's another reason why I kind of like the manga style of art and comic work, because
Right.
it's very intricate with the story. So yeah, I definitely sorry, I didn't mean to go into that deep dive. I definitely love the body of work that they have, because
I love your passion.
I appreciate that.
I do. Did you want to look at the website?
Sure, we can.
All right. And here we go. These.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
yeah, so this is the official Broken Omega pre-order page and site. You can pre-order the book. I have a date scheduled for release on the 28th of December. That's when I plan on releasing. That's the day before my birthday, so I figured I can get all of the books out by then. We planned on hitting print in mid-November, and finalizing all the artwork in the beginning of November. So December is definitely when we're going to be shipping out.
Are you going through crowdfunding, Kickstarter, or Indiegogo?
We will be launching the Kickstarter soon once we have the approval. I'm still awaiting the approval for Kickstarter. The pre-orders will go towards the actual funding of the publishing of the book, as well as the Kickstarter funds going to the publishing of the book, and to pay the artists for future projects of the book.
Right.
For book 2, book 3, concept art, print work, things like that.
And how many pages is this first book?
The first book is 25 pages.
Very cool. And you have other things going on here on the site as well.
Yes. So Ceratech is my managed service providing company. So we have a few services that we provide there, with custom server building, custom gaming PC building, procurement of different types of tech, upgrading repairs for different types of tech, network security, things like that. That's what we do predominantly.
Very cool.
Yeah, thank you. That's what we do for the day-to-day. And then whenever we have extra time, I like to live stream video games. So if you scroll up and hit video game and live stream, music video game and live stream. Yeah. That's actually where I met Michael. We were playing Smash Bros and stuff together, and I'll have some of the music artists that I've met over the years and DJ for and DJ around. I'll have them come on and play some games and stuff with me and talk about their music and things like that. Similar to what you're doing here with the comic book side of things.
Very cool.
Yeah. It's like it's me playing Need for Speed with the driving rig, talking about some music with that's actually Wavy J and J Vibe, Jordan and
Oh,
Jael.
cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. This is another artist that I work with, V Sky. We were playing Smash Bros. And Mario Kart together. So yeah, that's pretty much how I pay for the book, is by doing the tech stuff and just doing a few things for different like music artists in order to pay for the the artwork and the the overall overhead of the book. So
You have a contact us link, and you're on Facebook and Instagram, of course.
yep.
Very cool. I think there was this you sent me.
Yes, this is the final artwork for the gods Osiris and Isis. Isis's character design I'm still working on. There's a couple of things I want to add. I think she's a little too plain. But Osiris is definitely done. His sword is a play on my favorite and Michael's favorite character's sword, Cloud, from Final Fantasy,
Right.
the Buster sword. So I wanted him to have like a ridiculous Buster sword that's kind of like Egyptian styled out, and I wanted to give him more of a modern armor instead of it being kind of traditional.
Right.
And then he has blue skin in the in his in all of his like hieroglyphic work in ancient Egypt. He's blue, so I wanted to kind of keep that kind of thing going.
Cool.
So yeah, that's the character design for like two of the gods. I'm still working on a few of the other gods for the story, but those are the two main gods that you'll see in the first book for sure.
Just want to remind everybody below two things: www.sarah-tech.net, and if you do /Brooklyn Omega, you go straight to the comic. But if you go to sarah-tech.net, you'll just get the regular website, and you can click whichever a section you want to go to.
Absolutely.
You also have a Patreon, www. Come back again. There you go. www.patreon.com/sarah-tech.
Yes, sir.
And that's where you can find all this goody stuff, and where you can pre-order the book, where you can wait for updates about the Kickstarter and what's going on with that.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up today, I'm going to give you a minute to give us that elevator pitch. Why do we want this book, man? Why do we want to buy this book?
You want to buy this book because it's entertaining. The artwork looks great. It's from an indie artist, so you'll be supporting a very small group of artists that have a lot of talent, and you're in for a good time. There's a lot to learn from the book, and there's a lot to laugh about with the book, and you will definitely grow with me and the team. As we grow and you support us, we'll grow and make the book better and just make the content better and give you more of us.
And it's a Western book with manga influence, so you get the best of both worlds. If you like manga and you like anime, and you like Western comics, you can't miss either way, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Like that's the heart of it, man. It's definitely manga style like humor and artwork in the inside, but you definitely have the Western feel of just rawness and realness and relatability that you don't get with manga. Because I think that's one thing that you don't get with manga that you get with American comics is I can relate a little bit more to Tony Stark than I can with Goku. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Tony Stark is a little bit more reachable to me. As much of a genius and as he is, he's still human. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So
absolutely. And that's important because you could have the nicest looking book in the world, but you want characters people can relate to. And just talking with you, and the fact that it's based on a lot of real people, you're gonna get real issues, real responses, real emotions. You read this book, you may see a little of yourself in some of these characters to relate to, and I think that's awesome. And I love your passion for it.
I appreciate that, man. Those are very, very encouraging words coming from you, man. I appreciate that.
Look, I'm glad that you reached out to me. I'm glad you came on the show. I wish you the best of luck. I'm going to keep an eye out for the Kickstarter. You are welcome on Facebook to always either send it in DM for me to post or share, your Kickstarter launch, etc., or just tag me, whatever you want to do. I'm always big on that. I think we're a community that has to stay strong together. We could build entire nations, metaphorically as a community, as opposed to everybody's trying to take care of their own, build their own house by themselves and get away from me. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, I appreciate. Yeah, that's true, and I appreciate you doing that, man. Like that's no, okay, sorry.
no, it's cool. Yeah, unity is in the word community. We have to, we have to
I like
band
that.
together and take care of each other. There's enough room for everybody to be happy, live their dream, and be successful. I mean, there isn't. I mean, come on, how much content is out there that's being consumed? You're not my competition. You're my fellow, creator. Yeah. So let's create, man. I mean, let's be the top tier of gods, not demigods.
There you go. There you go. Word, man.
Quan, it was great having you on the show. Thank you so much for being here. I'm definitely interested. I think this is a really fascinating story. It sounds like it's going to be a great read, and I look forward to seeing it come out and more from you.
All right, thank you, Phil. I appreciate you like having me on, and I'll definitely be sending you that art print, man.
It's not necessary, but I'll never turn down art. So, so thank you. That's very kind of you. I wish you the best of success, man. Keep going and put out. This is great original content. I mean, this is what the mainstream stuff is missing these days. So, do it, man. Do it strong. Keep going, and everybody, please keep an eye out. Follow Quan Wilson on his Facebook and Instagram. Go to the website. You can also hit the Facebook and Instagram links from the website. Support. Supporting him is also supporting other artists, other creators, creating jobs, helping build dreams.
Yes, I appreciate all of the love and support we could possibly get. All of the artists that work on Brooklyn Omega would also appreciate everything that you guys do as far as like support is concerned.
And the last thing to remember is if you don't have the money to buy a book, there are so many other ways to support. And that is likes and comments, because that bumps him up in the feed, in the algorithm.
Yes.
Share it out. Tell everybody about it, because even if it's not your thing or you can't afford it, somebody is interested. So tell your friends, just get the word out, because you think with social media it's easy to get the word out. It's not. We're fighting Facebook algorithms. They want you to pay for promotion, and we don't have that money as indie creators. And to be honest with you, I've paid for promotion. I don't think it does shit. But anyway, so share it out. Let's be a community, because someday you're going to want that help too, and you're going to want somebody to be there to share out your stuff. So let's stick together and let's do this. Share this out. Tell everybody about this video, this show. Tell everybody about Quan Wilson. Tell everybody about Brooklyn Omega and Sarah Tech, and just let's do this, guys. Sure. So, Quan, thank you so much, my friend. It was good to meet you. You're a really cool dude, and I wish you the best of success.
Thank you, Phil. I appreciate it, man. And I wish you all the best of luck with your endeavors, man. Also, I want to buy one of those comics, man. I was checking it out the other day.
By the way, John Ottinger, another great creator, is here. Hey, John, how are you?
Hey, John.
So, yeah, man, don't be a stranger. Like I said, feel free to tag me, or if you want to send me in a DM something you want me to post, I'm happy to do it. I don't have a problem with that. Some people get wigged out about stuff like that. I don't see the problem with it. So, anytime I can help.
All right, word. I'll send you some new artwork as soon as I get some finalizations for the panel art and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, and like I said, I'll post it and we'll tag you. And we'll tag everybody and get some eyes on this.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Have a wonderful night, my friend.
You too, man.
Take care. So that was Quan Wilson. Again, it's Brooklyn Omega. His pre-order is up right now on the website below, www.sarah-tech.net/Brooklyn Omega. Go check it out. If you like manga, if you like Western comics, it hits both of those directly. Really interesting concept. So please go support and check it out, okay? Having said that, I want to remind you that Sam Vera with his Catch the Craze show. Really great guy. He has Forbidden issue 2, The Hunt, going to Indiegogo and Kickstarter together live. It's launching November 1st, which is next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is, New York time, etc. So, wait, now he's in Texas. Crap. Maybe it's not Eastern time anymore. I have to double check. But he's posted a lot, and he's posting with me because we are cross-promoting. So please go check out his live show, Catch the Craze on YouTube. And also, he's doing his live launch party Monday. And, of course, I know I'm beating you over the head with it. I'm sorry, but Tragedy Chapter 2, continuing the series. It's an ongoing series by me, written by me, characters created by me, illustrated by Ricardo Silva, pencils and inks, colored by Chris Sotomayor, the interiors. And we have a lot of great variant covers, Tyler Kirkham and Ryan Kincaid and Ale Garza, colored by Alex Sinclair. And so many great indie people like Len Danovich and Nick Justice and Peter Clinton, and it goes on and on. So, and we're going to have a book of covers, which we just did. I just posted today the wraparound cover by Chris Graves. It's amazing. So, if you love art and you love superheroes and you love action and you love books that don't throw boring exposition at you and characters you can relate to on a human level, then I really recommend you pick up Tragedy. It ends with a shocking cliffhanger that surprised the hell out of all the readers. And hopefully you want to come back and see what happens. Tragedy Chapter 2 is coming to Kickstarter November 1st, which is Monday, and it'll launch at 7 p.m. I will be live at 6:30 doing a live launch party with some of the artists as my guests. We will talk about Tragedy. We will talk about the campaign. I will launch it live there and pray to God that it does well. That's that. As far as Creatorcon Q&A, we have one last episode, 119. That is Friday. It is J.M. DeSantis. He's a writer, artist with several books out, and he's an awesome human being. He was just at Baltimore Con, and I did well. And he will be my last guest on Creatorcon Q&A as we are ending the show, unfortunately. I just can't keep it up right now while I'm working 3 jobs, trying to sell Tragedy 1, trying to get the Kickstarter for Tragedy 2. I run conventions. I'm an art rep. I'm a father of 2 small children, and of course I'm married, and I have a house. And unfortunately, I can't keep this going right now, and I'd be doing a disservice to my guests if I'm sitting here falling asleep or yawning, and I would never do that. So, having said that, I hope you come out for our final show Friday night with J.M. DeSantis. I will post, of course. Again, I want to thank Quan Wilson, my guest, and all of you for coming out, as you always do. I want to thank all the people that have been loyal supporters of this show for the last year and a half and came back after my hiatus when I was sick. You guys have been awesome supporters. You've been great with your interactions, and I'm greatly appreciative of all of you. You guys are the reason why the show kept going, because you're interacting and you're giving love and support to my guests and myself, sharing out all the time. You guys are the stars. You guys are awesome, and I mean that sincerely. So, my second to last sign off, I will tell you what I always tell you: be legendary and have fun storming the castle.